28 years after James Aaron Toole told his family he was headed to visit a friend. His body has almost certainly been found. Crews in Florida working tonight to recover Toole's remains and his car from a Florida river. News 4's Ken Curtis broke this story on the News 4 app. And Ken, after almost 3 decades, how was that wreckage located?
Well, Kinsley crews cleaning up in the aftermath of Hurricane Idalia found a Chevrolet Cavalier at the bottom of the Steinhatchee River about 70 miles west of Gainesville. All evidence indicates the body is that of James Aaron Toole, who lived in the Pansy community of Houston County. Toole, who was 74, disappeared on May 15, 1990, last seen driving down County Road 75 after telling his family he would travel to Central Florida to visit a sick friend. We now likely know why he didn't make it. Sheriff Valenza said he sent officers to Florida where efforts to retrieve the vehicle are ongoing. He told me forensics tests will confirm if the remains are those of Toole, but it seems all but likely tonight with a credit card and a Sam's Club card found in the car bearing his name. Now again, Toole had told his family that he would go out of town, but he never arrived. Crews now working in Florida, Kinsley, as you mentioned, trying to get that car, which of course after 28 years is not in the best shape, get it to the bottom where it's been submerged in the river. Now, there were reports about 5 years ago that somebody found Toole's wallet in Bainbridge. Sheriff Valenza says he can't confirm those reports, but he does tell me that in this case, foul play is not suspected.
Ken Curtis, thank you for that report. We will be diving deeper into this tonight on News 4 at 6.